Welcome to another episode of Today is Mother's Day in the UK. Now, to be a mother these days, you've got to be strong. Some would say an Iron Maiden. Phantom of the Opera there, by the band Iron Maiden. Now, in case you haven't noticed, this Monday is the 1st of April. And what better place to go this Monday than Camden Head for their weekly Monday night comedy night. There'll probably be some of this, a little bit of this, and some of this. That's Monday Night Comedy at the Camden Head, right here in Camden Town. Now, this Tuesday, after all that chortling, you'll probably be ready for a night in. So why not tune in to this week's exclusive interview. This week, I caught up with Greg Marshall from the duo Morrissey and Marshall. He called in to the Camden Town studio to bring us up to date. And so it began. Okay, so I'm in the studio today with Greg Marshall from the duo Morrissey and Marshall. Greg, welcome to Camden Town Radio.
How are you doing, Howard? Thanks for having me down.
We're good, thanks. You're welcome, and it's great to have you on the show.
Cheers, man.
That's great. And whereabouts are you guys from?
We're from Dublin originally, and we moved to London. It must have been about 8 or so years ago.
Right.
And yeah, been gigging and playing ever since.
All right. So did that coincide with when the band was started?
Well, we actually had a band in Dublin, a kind of a rock and roll band. We played all around, really one of the best venues in Dublin. We kind of did it all there, and then we decided to move to London. And when we moved, it was just the two of us, so that was kind of the end of that band. And we started up this duo, Morrissey and Marshall, because all we had were two acoustic guitars and our two voices, so that's kind of where the sound came from, because we had to do as much as possible with what we had, you know.
Yes.
So yeah, that pretty much, about a year later after we moved over, so about 7 years we've been going as Morrissey and Marshall now.
Right. And I know it's quite a lively scene in Dublin, so it must have been a good place to get started and get gigging.
Oh yeah, it's brilliant, and it's getting better now as well.
Yeah.
We're always back and forth playing in Dublin.
Oh, right.
We love it, you know. But we just at the time we just fancied the change of scenery, you know.
Yes. Well, certainly plenty going on in both cities, so good to be able to do gigs.
Yeah, definitely.
In both cities, yes. Oh, that's great. Would you describe? I've seen you described as folk rock and roll. Would that be accurate?
Yeah, it'd be a folk and roll almost. Because we kind of have. We're not kind of folk in a kind of a terms of kind of a mellow kind of sense.
Yeah.
We have elements of kind of rock and roll indie, and then the 60s rock and roll.
Yes.
Like the Kinks or the Beatles. So that's probably fitting.
Yes, and you mentioned the Beatles there. What other influences do you have?
Yeah, well, as I said, the 60s is a big influence.
Yes.
Simon and Garfunkel,
Yes.
the Everly Brothers, and then a lot of 90s bands like the Verve, Ocean Colour Scene, Supergrass, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, that makes sense, yes. In terms of your stage setup, is it usually the two of you as a duo, or do you ever add any additional musicians?
The core of the band is us two.
Yes. And are you both guitarists, or how does that?
I'm kind of play more of the kind of the leady bits in the songs, and Darren kind of provides the kind of the rhythm.
Right.
But we have different setups depending on what. And we originally played as a predominantly as a duo.
Yes.
But over the past few years, we've kind of expanded into getting a drummer and a bass player, and sometimes it goes up to a brass section and all.
Right.
So, yeah.
So it depends on the venue, but you can
scale up.
Yeah, you're as comfortable doing an acoustic duo as you are a full electric
exactly.
setup. Yes. Well, that's good. It means you can play a wider range of venues there.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
Yes. That's great. And I believe one of your features is harmony vocals?
Yeah, that's kind of as I said, when we kind of moved over, the two voices were kind of the thing that kind of filled out the sound. And I actually didn't do that much singing
originally.
Originally I did the old and ooh and stuff like that, like in the old band. But
so Darren was the main singer.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
yes.
but this, it's kind of like it's close harmonies and pretty much the whole way through the song, you know. So that was really good to me. Good for me to get that going. So yeah, that's was one of our signature sounds.
So you kind of equal vocal duties, really.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
All right. And in terms of songwriting, does that also occur with both of you writing songs or individual songs? How does that?
It varies a bit, but mainly Darren would kind of come up with the bones of the songs, and he would write the lyrics, and then I would come in and kind of add the harmonies, and then kind of the kind of leady parts and kind of other different parts.
Yes.
And that's pretty much how it works.
Yes. With and do you find yourself writing in the studio or on the road?
Mainly, we used to live together as well.
Yes.
So we were writing lots of songs, but now we live a bit apart. But we kind of write our own kind of parts now and bring them together when we see each other. You know, so it's still going.
Yes. Or do you do any online collaboration before you meet?
It's trying to get that going.
Yeah.
But it was both use kind of logic, you know. So it's kind of that's a good way of.
Swap tracks.
Exactly. Yeah. And we can just add parts.
Yes, that makes sense, yes. And I believe you have played in Camden Town before?
Yes, about 2 years ago. It was our second album launch gig. We actually played the Camden Assembly Rooms, which was absolutely amazing. It was packed. It was kind of a bit of a party atmosphere. We got beach balls, we kicked them everywhere, and we. Darren had a nice moment where he was like, you know, saying thank you to the crowd, and the crowd went really silent, and then one guy at the back just heckled and ruined the moment. But it was funny though. And also we've recently we played Dingwall's, Dublin Castle.
Oh yes.
Yeah, a lot of venues. The Spiritual Bar as well.
Okay.
Really cool.
Yes.
There's so many great venues in Camden, isn't it?
All right, so you're gaining a following on the Camden circuits.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yes. That's great. Your album 2 years ago, what was the name?
It was called We Rise, and that was kind of a full band setup, you know.
Okay.
We had like a bit bigger production on that one.
And that was your second album?
It was, yeah.
Yeah. So your first album, was that a more acoustic?
It was more acoustic, but it's still a band, like, you know.
Right. Yes.
So what happened was with the two albums. So we released on So It Began, which is our first album, then We Rise.
Yes. And
because we perform as a duo and also a band, we kind of got a bit of a split, you know.
Right.
Like the acoustic and electric Bob Dylan thing. You know?
Okay. Yes. Yeah.
So fans liked us playing as kind of an acoustic duo, and some liked us playing as an electric band.
Right.
So we decided to record, We Rise again acoustically.
Oh, okay.
And then recently we did, and So It Began again acoustically. So
right.
It's kind of giving people everything, you know.
Yes, and is that the latest album then, the acoustic version of And So It Began?
That's right, yeah. So that was out before Christmas.
Yes.
Yeah, that's gone really well.
Right.
We've thrown a couple of new songs onto it, and we did a cover of it's a little known fact, but do you know that song by Peter and Gordon, A World Without Love?
Yes, I've heard of that one. Yes.
Paul McCartney wrote that song.
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't know that, but
yes.
you can kind of tell when you listen back to it, like it has its songwriting, you know.
Yes, has the Beatles style.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yes.
So so that's what we've been kind of touring at the moment.
Okay. Oh, sounds great. And all right, has anything interesting happened to you when you've been out and about in Camden?
Well, yeah, when we went to see the Fratellis.
Oh yes.
We That was in the Kentish Town Forum.
Yes.
And we ran into Stuart Pearce.
Oh, right.
Which was really cool. He was a really nice bloke.
What, in the bar
Crazy.
before the gig, or?
No, it was actually, he was at the venue. He was front row.
Oh, right.
In the circle. So
oh,
yeah,
right.
we had a good time with him.
Yes, no, I know he does like his music, certainly.
Yeah, big time. Yeah.
Yes. I think that might be one of his favourite bands then.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yes. You perhaps have to try and get him to one of your shows then.
Yeah. We didn't exchange numbers. I think we had too many points to actually do something like that.
Probably quite surprised it was him. One of those double take moments.
Yeah. we got a snap with him, so
yes.
that's for the memory book.
Okay, now with one of you with the surname Morrissey, has that ever got confused with the Morrissey?
A couple of times, yeah. Most recently, we played at the Troubadour.
Oh yeah.
In January, and
down in Kensington.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and before we were about to go on, we were talking to this kind of couple who were nearby, and I don't think they knew who we were because they asked us and said, "Is the Morrissey playing tonight?"
Ah, right.
And I was like, "What?" No, Morrissey and Marshall. And he said, "Oh, well, it says on their website that it's Morrissey playing." I was like, "Really? God, like that's fairly cheap, £6 to get in to see Morrissey, you know."
Yes.
But yeah, they were pleasantly surprised, hopefully.
Yes.
And they enjoyed it. So.
I think it's good to have in your band title because because Darren's surname is Morrissey, so I think that's.
Yeah.
I think it's good to have.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Having the title, certainly. Yes. Okay. Now, in terms of types of guitars, are you both playing nylon string acoustic guitars?
No, just steel string. Darren plays a Martin and I play a Guild.
Okay.
And when we're doing the electric setup, I kind of tend to play either kind of a Telecaster or else an Epiphone Sheraton.
Oh right. Okay. Yes.
Which is really cool. You can get so many different sounds out of it, you know.
Yes. In terms of your acoustic gigs, could you do a gig without amplification?
Yeah, we've done it. We've done it before. Yeah. Like we've played in. Sometimes we've done proper unplugged and the likes the Prince of Wales. We've just kind of sat in the corner, played a gig, you know, full, just project out, you know.
Yes.
So I think we've got that kind of feather in our cap because we used to kind of busk back in the early days. So we're used to kind of that type of performance, you know.
Oh, that's quite interesting. So some of your early performances were busking on the streets, were they? Or?
Yeah, we used to when we first moved over, we busked in Hampstead.
Okay. Yes.
Opposite the kind of creperie and the Barclays there.
Oh right, yes.
And it was that was really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, oh, it can be a great experience. Yes, before you perform in a venue to gauge audience reaction and so on.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Well, they seem to be generous enough anyway, and it kind of paid the bills and helped pay the bills anyway initially. So
it can be a great way to hone your craft, and particularly if you end up with a big crowd of people around you, you know you're onto a good thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's always good because you see the kids walking by and they kind of stay there, and then the parents have to stay there and watch. So that's
absolutely
that's a good crowd builder.
I know some artists who still do busking because even though they're established, they might be trying out new material and they just want to do that in a public space rather than in a venue straight away.
Yeah. A lot of bands kind of on the day of a gig, like they'll just play around like it happens in Dublin anyway.
Okay.
And there was one time where it was actually after a gig. We supported the Magic Numbers in Dublin.
Yes.
And after the gig, we decided at the front doors to all of us, including the Magic Numbers, to all play a lot of songs.
Oh, right.
There was a huge crowd gathered around.
Yes.
That was amazing.
Yeah, well, sometimes the spontaneous moments can be the best.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
In these venues, yes. And certainly with your strong vocals, I guess that does add to the sound. If you're not plugged in, then with strong vocals, that is giving overall a good volume without having to be plugged in.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Yes. Okay, now in terms of website for fans to find out about your music, what's the best page for them to go to?
It's morrisseyandmarshall.com, and also we're on Facebook as Morrissey and Marshall, Instagram Morrissey and Marshall, Twitter, Spotify.
All right.
All the usuals online.
Yes. All right, that's great. People should be able to find you there.
Yep.
And in terms of up-and-coming shows, what have you got planned?
So we're actually in April we're going to be touring with the Magic Numbers. We're going to be supporting them, and then we're going to be playing some dates in Ireland. We're playing in Westport, then we're playing in Dublin on the 24th of May with a band called the Family Dog, who are absolutely amazing, and I recommend you check them out.
All right.
And we're playing the 25th, 26th, and then we're trying to get it's unconfirmed, but we're trying to get a London date very soon. But you have the website there. Keep an eye on it, and you'll see where to catch us.
Okay, that's great. Okay, Greg. Well, thanks very much for joining us, representing Morrissey and Marshall on Camden Town Radio today.
Pleasure. Thanks very much, Howard.
It's been great to have you on the show.
Cheers, man. Hello, this is Greg from Morrissey and Marshall, and thanks to Camden Town Radio for having me on, and we hope to play a gig in Camden Town very soon. Thank you.
The track, She's Got Love, by the band Morrissey and Marshall, featuring Darren Morrissey and Greg Marshall. And before that, my interview with Greg, when he popped into Camden Town Radio this week. And thanks to Greg for stopping by. Their new album, And So It Began, acoustically, is out now. Okay, so we're through to Wednesday, the 3rd of April, it's about time you headed down to Greenote. You might want to drift into town for this one.
I've been poisoned, who am I now? Lost my toys and I don't care how. My toy soldiers are left behind. This nostalgia's cloud in my mind. I traded traded it so I'd keep afloat. But all I did was drift to sea, with my money surrounding me. Went to bed one evening, nights and cold, and I lost my voice. I lay awake, not thinking, my soul was sold. I was trembling, I was lying, a heart of gold, a diamond ring with a heart and sting. But all I did was drift to sea, with my money surrounding me. Yeah, all I did was I drift to sea. With my money surrounding me. Worked it out when I was young. Yeah, I worked out how I get that strong, and worked it out when I was young. I would sing high when I sang. Didn't know you then, how I be. Yeah, I worked out how I could die strong, and worked it out when I was young. But all I did was to see. With my money surrounding me.
The song Drift Out to Sea by the artist Alice Phelps, who is on at Green Note, Camden Town, this Wednesday, the 3rd of April. Thanks for joining me once again this week on Thanks to Greg once again from Morrissey and Marshall for joining me. Whatever you're doing this week, have fun. Keep rocking.
Talk to me back at you now!